Hello.
Hello!
Woo. Happy
Oof,
Valentine's Day.
happy Valentine's Day.
Celebrating with some reading sprints, which is super exciting.
Yes.
Oh, Clementine, I
Yes.
have crafting news in the
Oh,
Angela craftosphere. So, you know that I was looking at all those embroidery kits and I was like, I want all of them.
yes.
And
Yes.
Clementine was like, I don't know if you're going to like
Uh-huh.
embroidery, Angela. I don't know if it's going to be your thing. And I was like, I think it's going to be my thing. I think I'm going to like it. And I do. So I made this the
Oh,
other day, which is super exciting. And I'm very proud.
yeah,
Um,
you should be.
Thank
It's cute.
you. It
It's
took me, I made this last night and it took me like 3.5 hours. So it is a
yeah,
very slow craft, but I do
it
love
is.
it.
It
It's
is.
very meditative.
It's true that when I finish something, it was very rewarding, but I don't have the patience. And it's weird because I do have a patience with some other crafts that are very, that require patience, but it's really, some compared to others, you're more patient with some, and it's just what it is, right?
I went back to Michael's today because I
Oh,
went to
and you got
Michael's
some?
yesterday and I got the little project and then I finished it. And I ordered a kit last weekend.
Uh-huh.
When we were at like a book club meeting, and when we were at book club, I did end up ordering a kit, and so I ordered that kit, and it's coming this weekend. But I just couldn't wait, so I did that other little one, and then the only other one that I liked that Michael's had is seasonal, but it's fall time, so I'm just gonna get as far through it as I can, and then when my new springtime one comes this weekend, I'll do that one and I'll put this one away. But this is the one that I'm having a hard time centering it. This is what I'm gonna work on today.
Oh,
And I haven't
sweet.
started it yet. I've just hooped it up.
Uh-huh.
So that is my craft while we read today.
I mean, I could also like see at my Michael's like close to my place because it seems that from one to the next they really don't have
They
exactly.
might have
Some
some.
of them they have more, like. So, hi Maria. Yes, you're still at work. We know. We'll try. We can't promise that we will last up until you come back from work, but we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like last time we were like, oh, maybe we won't go quite as long, and then we went even a little bit longer last time. I'm not promising that tonight, obviously, but yeah, I'm glad that we decided to do this. I'm excited to have the excuse to sit and do nothing but read and embroider. Life should be fabulous during that.
And my day was very tiring. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. So, like, I really need to just read. I don't know how well I will be able to concentrate on the book. So, I'm just planning to try and continue this fantasy romance I
Mm,
started, which is the Foxglove King.
okay.
I don't know
How's it going?
it's good so far, but I'm only I managed to read like maybe one or two chapters every night so far.
Oh,
So
it's
it's
such a pretty addition, though. Like, look at
such
those
a
frayed
good
edges. It's so pretty.
So I know so this book I think it might be in April or May, like in at most 3 months. We're supposed to have the second one coming up really soon.
Oh,
And so I know that Fairy Loots is probably also going to do another edition of the second book, since they did. This is the Fairy Loot edition of the first book, right?
oh, that's so pretty. I
So
love
yeah,
it when the naked hardcovers are really pretty.
yeah,
Like the
I know,
dust jackets are nice, but I
and I don't
really
know
want
how
a
the end
nice
picture will show because everything's very like very dark, but it's like so
dark
beautiful.
and moody.
But so far so good. I really enjoyed the. I'm really intrigued about the magic because it's like this death magic.
Hmm.
But it's kind of different because it seems that they call it this mortem, which is basically steeping out of this goddess that died like 500 years ago. So it's kind of interesting because it seems that people who had like near death experiences can somehow manipulate this mortem than others. And of course, our main character is a special TM, So, but it is hinted that there are others a little bit like her, but it's she apparently has always had those powers and she can resuscitate people. So it's very mysterious so far. Of course, we don't have a lot of information. Yes, Maria, it is stunning. So she's saying, I was losing interest in this series, but if you love it, I might rethink that. Yeah, I did. So I did try another work by this author. It's Hannah Witten, but it was the YA fantasy romance, the retelling of Little Red Riding Hood for the
Was
web.
that sold as YA? I kind of thought it was
I
adult.
think it was sold as adult, but for me, I
It
mean, in
felt
terms
YA.
of it felt YA. Like, the only thing that wasn't YA was the age of the characters, but everything else was YA. And even if, okay, let's not call it YA, it was a fantasy
Sure.
romance, but like everything was surface level. And I don't know if it was because it was a sort of kind of retelling without being a retelling. I was just bored. I read like 50% of it, and even with the audiobook, I was like, I don't really care.
I have
So
the exact same opinion. I read about 50% of it. I hit the 50% mark and I was like, I still don't care.
yeah,
So then I
but
stopped.
I do have to say for this one, I'm only like 50 pages in. I'm like really not far, but I already like the magic better. I already seem like I know the world a little more than I did with the other book. The setting, like I can sort of see some things, whereas the other one was really like I don't know. I don't even know where it was supposed to be set
It was
about.
just like, yeah, forest
Yeah,
castle.
the forest. Nothing
Like that
was
was about it. But I mean, like there wasn't a lot of atmosphere. It wasn't.
No, there wasn't a lot of atmosphere. So, like, apart from it being a little bit, dark, a little bit, like mysterious, maybe a little bit. But like, this one, I'm more interested. Also, like the characters, there's a bunch of characters that were introduced that are like all kind of more like gray, and
Mhm.
it's very interesting so far. I'll see if it's really keeps being surface level, but for now, I'm enjoying it already more. Whereas the other from the start, I was just like, okay, well, not really interested at all from the start. So it was, yeah. I would say for now it's better. So we'll see.
Yay. Well, I have hope for you. I actually, so Jesse the reader did like reader oh, what turns you off of a book?
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
Video a while ago, and one of my comments made it into the video. I was very proud. It was the most liked comment, and it was, I'm a very much a like one strike and you're out sort of reader. So if I don't like one book
Oh,
from you, it really takes a lot to get me to read a second book from an author if I've DNF'd or if I haven't liked something.
okay. I'm not. I'm not. Especially
I think
if,
that's good for you. I think it's a good thing to
yeah.
give people chances.
I think it depends. Of course, like if a synopsis seems very similar from the book I really haven't liked, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna pick it up, obviously. Also, like I would say like for me it's more like 2 or 3 strikes and you're out. Like let's say I try a book, then I try another one that seems really different, or that I have seen reviews that, some people who didn't like the first one like the other one, but I
Right.
still don't like both of them. Then I'm like, I'm really not sure it's gonna be for me. Also, like some authors might be one strike and they're out if the writing doesn't work at all. If let's say I read like some authors, I read like 50 pages and I really really couldn't understand even sentences, so I'm like, yeah, it's not for me, that's fine.
Oh, that's interesting, Maria. I very much like, if I like an author, I am like with you for the long
Mm.
haul. If I like the first couple of books you've read, I do tend to give those authors a little bit of grace. But if the first book out of the gate for me is one that's not so
Mhm.
fabulous, then I have a hard time giving a second chance when there are so many books that I could like. But I think that you have a good point here, Maria, that if you're like reading for the characters,
Yeah,
yeah.
same, Maria. We know this about ourselves. We character driven, so. But I would say that also there are some authors like V. Schwab at this point. I know that even if I don't love any of her books, I will probably like all of her books because of the writing, and it's just such a comfort the way she writes, whatever she writes. Even if some of the books are really not really my usual genre, I know that I will like it because the character work that she does and is always okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, I definitely have my favorite authors too,
yeah.
where it's you'll pry their books from my cold,
Anyway,
dead
yeah.
hands.
Yeah. But otherwise, if I can't read because the other one is physically, I have Senlin Ascents, which is an audio that I got from the
Nice.
library. And I have to say, this one I was close to DNFing after 50 pages.
Oh no.
But now I'm more interested. It's more like I will probably not continue the series because I think it's a series of 4 books.
I think that's right. Some people were kind of disappointed in the last one, which has made me a little bit more wary.
I think a lot of the people are saying that it's just going downhill from the
Yeah.
first one. Most of the people, which is really scaring me. But it's really like I really hated the main character at first. It was
Okay.
like he was a nearly an incel for me. Like
Oh.
because he's like this school teacher, right? And he's mentioning that he's just going on his honeymoon to visit the Tower of Babel, right? With this his newlywed wife, who's 12 years younger than him, who's been living in the same village as him, and there's a mention, or maybe it's hinted that she was his student before, question mark. And like the way it's like weaved in the beginning, it's really weird because it makes you even think that one of the students in a flashback could be his wife, but then you realize it's not, so you're okay. But still, it was like I had like really like bad vibes with that. But it's one of these things that the Tower of Babel, he's basically going through the different floors and trying to go up to find his wife who disappeared. And they said that they would meet at one floor, right? And so far, he's been a very, very stupid idiot with a lot of different things. And he's supposed to be a schoolmaster, a school teacher. It's just, okay, it doesn't make sense. But 2, also, he's very pedantic, like very pedantic for this. But I do have fun about like the towers, the tower itself, and like the different levels. It's completely nonsensical. So as an audiobook, I think it's okay. So I might be able to finish it, but yeah, no.
Yeah. I'll be reading First Rider's Call tonight. At least I'm going to start it.
Okay.
I read Green Rider, which is this like it was sold as YA. It seems very YA-ish, but I think that adults who love like classic fantasy could really love it. It's about this girl who she gets suspended from her school for fighting. It's in like ye old fantasy, medieval, whatever setting. So she gets suspended and she leaves and she finds this dying messenger for the king, and he like gives her some of his like possessions and the message and his horse, and he says, like, I'm gonna die, you please go take this message to the king and save the kingdom. And then she embarks on her magical quest, and it's fabulous. And I really liked the first one a lot. So the second one, the hold just came through on the audiobook from the library.
Cool.
So I think that's what I'm going to start.
And it's I think for me that I was told as like a tagline that it's a horse girl fantasy.
Yeah. It's like if you're looking for an animal companion who's just a grumpy horse, Green Rider is a really great. It's a great one. I'm really, really liking it. I'm liking it a lot.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
I will say it's a little bit derivative. If you're like, I want all new things, new magic systems, new storylines, new creative everything, I would say that like Green Rider is not the book for you. But if you're like, I want like a teenage girl to like be Bilbo Baggins by herself through the old fantasy forest, then I think that you're, or really more Frodo, but I think that you're a great one. Yes, Atlas, come say hi. Atlas is always hanging out close by, but every once in a while he decides to come in. How are you doing?
Okay. I think I have issues. I was trying to set up so that we can go on a sprint, but I might have to do something with the settings. Sorry, trying to figure this out.
Oh, are you trying to change the time?
No, not that. Just trying to share my screen, and it's telling me that it wants to record my screen and that I need to somehow I think. Wait, what?
If you need me to share mine instead, I totally.
Yeah, I think because they asked me basically to restart the
Oh,
browser.
weird. Okay.
I
Uh,
think with my Mac, there's very yeah, it's fine.
I know that 45 minutes was a good time for
Yeah,
us to like start out with previously. Is that still good for you?
I think that's good. That way I can have dinner and do a few things.
Sounds good. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Share screen. There it is. And then once you get it up, oh, there it is. Beautiful. All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and start. And Clementine, enjoy your dinner.
Thank you. See you in 45.
Bye. It still scares me. Like I can't believe it still scares me, but it does. It finds a way.
Oh, I was not able to finish a chapter. Not
Oh,
even.
sad. Well, when did you come back? Do you know how long there was
I
on?
came back like 10 minutes ago only. And it got me a while to get back into, and I had to reread a chapter because I tried. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah,
But I did have like one quote that made me laugh.
ooh, what
It's
is it?
So she's in front of a king who tells her like, "They tell me you've fallen in with poison runners. How did that happen to a woman of your prodigious talent?" And she says, "Too mean to charge for my company, too clumsy for barkeeping, and I'm a terrible cook. That rules out most gainful employment." So she's sassy.
Be like that. Well, I made this much
Sorry,
progress on my embroidery. It's hard to see, but I did this part here in the middle
mhm.
and then this part over here almost. Centering this in the camera when everything's backwards is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I made some progress on the embroidery and I made 8% progress on the book. But this is a longer book, so it makes sense. I'm listening to it on 2 times speed. So
Mm-hmm.
almost exactly an hour and a half in.
Cool. Cool.
And mine is very fun. It's she's like camping with another like a group of riders and I think they're on like a diplomatic mission of
Mhm.
sorts.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, it's the start of a wonderful journey. I am sure. Gonna
Cool.
update my story graph. I don't know how many people are here because I can't see, but if
That's
anyone
the one.
is here and you would like to,
But
you know, let us know.
yeah,
Uh,
let us know how you read. For now, I see 0, but
they could pop it. We don't know.
yeah, I also like I don't know how like well it writes it. I think there's a delay compared to the comments or other things because at some point it said 0, but we still had some comments. So,
Oh, interesting.
but
Uh, cool.
if I get too tired, I need to switch to an audiobook. I did start my 2024 blanket.
Ooh, nice.
So
How many genres, or is it still genres again, or is it something else?
it's still genres, but this time I did separate. I created a fifth category because I separated fantasy romance and fantasy romance. Because I do not read a lot of contemporary romance, but I read a lot more fantasy romance. So, and like I did like, so for now, you see like the dark blue there is
Mm-hmm.
this like fantasy. The
Uh-huh.
light blue that I haven't read yet should be like, romance, and the in between is fantasy romance because
So
it's like,
you've been reading a lot of fantasy romance, is what I'm seeing.
yeah.
What's
Well,
what's the tan color? Is it sci-fi?
the white is other. Sci-fi
Oh,
is going to be yellow.
okay. Okay.
Which I mean, I did read one, but I think it's the next row that I have to do.
Mm,
Yeah.
very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I don't think that the temperature blanket projects are for me. I thought that they were,
Mm-hmm.
and I was gonna try, but I think it's buying too much material for something that I'm not sure if I'm gonna actually finish. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to justify it.
For me, I do like it because like the only times I did like a baby blanket for I did a couple, for some friends,
Sure.
uh, kids, but it was so hard for me to make it in like a reasonable amount of time, make it really, really fast. It was tiring and I hated it so much. I love the result, but I hated the experience of making it like that. So I do prefer, I mean, I found that I really liked it. But I was thinking of trying to make another design and not something, as simple as this kind of stitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized the problem is if I read exact like at least 150 books like I did last year, it's going to be way too long if I do anything else than just a
Mm.
standard, like really thin stitch. Because this one is like a half double crochet that I did.
Yeah, I think that if you were to do that, you would want to use a thinner yarn. Like you would want to go down the
Yeah,
side.
but then I would require also to make a lot of stitches. I get to get the
Yeah, how long are you, or how wide are you making it?
I'm making it less wide than the last one. I did. It's still wide, but it's like just the length of my like that. Not even like
Gotcha.
like an arm and a half is my measure.
That's great.
But it did shrink a little bit because I put it in the wash, in the washing machine.
But it
It's just
held up, which is great.
yeah, it did. It did. I mean, it's not the best yarn ever, so it did. Like
Pill a little bit.
yeah. Also, my machine is not the best for sure, but like yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, this is my blanket from last year, but it seemed a little bit more shrunk in some ways. But I do prefer it because that way it's really really well packed. You see, like here, there's barely any like
Mm.
you can't really see through it, which is
Right.
what I want. But yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of designs that I really like. Like there's like a wave design that I would really love to do, but it's really thick, when you do one row of it.
Is it
So
in double crochet instead of single crochet? Is that the problem?
yes, it's double crochets, and on top of it you have this wave design that makes it from the start take more room, right?
Yeah, but not every row would take more room, right? Just at the beginning and the end.
Still, no, everything because like the point is that you make this pattern like this, so
Mm-hmm.
that you do have a little bit of difference between the top and the bottom. Um, so it does look a lot more because I remember. So that's what I tried doing. It was in 2022. I tried doing that design,
Mm-hmm.
and I barely made like I think I made like 10 or 15 rows, and I was already like double the size of this one in terms of the height because of the waviness of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think especially the fact that it's in double crochet, I think hikes that up a lot. Um,
Also, like since you do this wave pattern, you have to use a lot of yarn because there's quite at the bottom of it you have to do like three of them in one go. Like in like when you're on the top of your thing to make it round the turn, you have to every stitch you make three double crochets in the same one.
Right, but then don't you decrease at the bottom of the stitches so the stitch count should stay
Yeah,
relatively
you
the same?
decrease, but like it's I think it's still compared of like having the same, in terms of if you were straight, right, and just made double crochets. If you do like this, then it requires you a lot more stitches when you do this than when you.
Yes, yes. If you want it to be exactly the same width, it does require more stitches per row. Yes,
Exactly,
true.
compared to a simple design. Sorry for anybody who would watch this in replay. I don't see anybody in there right now, but if you see anybody in the replay, just go ahead if you're not into crochet.
I
But
feel like that's what you sign up for when you watch reading sprints, like there's a little
yeah,
bit of reading and then there's a little bit of chat, and
and a little bit of random chats usually.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think we're both kind of tangentially working on our crafts and things, and I think that it's fine to talk about that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that being said, do we want to do another round of sprints?
I mean, I'm up for it since I barely read last time. Let's try and
Uh,
actually read.
How long would you like this round to be for?
Should we try? I can't decide tonight. Should we roll it?
Sure, let's roll the dice.
Okay. Let me
What are
grab
we
it.
going to multiply by? That's the big question.
Oof. I mean, it depends on which die you want me to roll, right?
Well, what are our options? You pick one you like, and then we'll decide what to.
Our options are many because I have the all the D&D die.
Mm.
So I have like a 6-sided die. I have like a 4-sided die, a 20-sided die. I mean,
It's
that's even worse, right? Because we have so many options for everything.
You could just dump whatever the first one is to dump out of the bag or something if you want. It doesn't matter to
Nah, let's just 6-sided die.
me.
Okay.
Okay.
4
We didn't decide what we were multiplying by.
times 10. Okay. 40.
Okay, great. 40 minutes. Beautiful.
I know. Next time, if we have people in the comments, please let us know by how much we multiply. That way we don't decide because we're terrible at making decisions.
Yes. Well, I think if this ever gets, bigger and we have people here, I think it would be great to have like a little Google form or something in the chat that's just like, what is your preferred length
Mhm.
of sprint? And then, like if people care, they could give us some opinions.
Well, I mean, they can just drop it in the comments for sure.
Yeah. Alrighty. Um, the timer's ready to go. Do you want to share it to the stage? I don't know that I can do that.
Sure.
Beautiful. Alrighty. Everyone enjoy your books.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Oh, how did we do?
I barely read 2 chapters. Still 1 page, 2 pages away from the end of the chapter. I really think tonight I'm really tired. I don't think I'm going very fast. How did you do?
Um, so I mean, it's easy to make progress with an audiobook, right? Because it just goes.
I mean,
So I'm
unless
at four.
you realize that you haven't heard anything and then you rewind. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, very true. I'm doing just fine with following it. I'm still at the beginning. I'm about 14% of the way there. So, yeah, yeah, it's good. I finished my last thread that I had split and ready to go um, when I was like right there at the end. So, new thread, same needle. Oh, I should show you my progress instead of
Yes,
just
you
looking
should
at
show us your
it.
progress. And the people in the chat, please let us know. If
Yeah.
you've read, how much have you read? Whether
And what you're reading, because we don't know what any of you guys are reading. So, what you're reading and how far you got, or if you're doing something else. If you're writing, like, I don't know if you track by words or anything like that, but yeah, let us know what you got done. So, here we are. So, the struggle for me
Yes.
is that it's not a fun color. I think this would maybe be a fun color on a different background, but
Uh-huh.
it's like white. And it's like these big areas, so it takes me forever.
Yeah.
So, I am getting I'm getting antsy. I'm like, I want to do another stitch, but I'm also so close to being done. So all I have left of the white is like a little bit down
Mm-hmm.
here, and then like one more little round of the pumpkin, and then no more white in the whole thing. Then we get to use fun colors. I'm very excited. Yeah. I think I'm gonna do maybe this big flower
Mm.
next. I think that would make sense. And this big flower is red, so it'll be like a nice dark, like
Yeah,
fun
you
color.
have to change a little
Yeah.
bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I do in general, I like crafting with like darker, like more fun
Mm-hmm.
colors than the light ones.
Ooh,
Ooh.
done with work. Yay, Maria. I finished a fantasy romance sequel, Touch of Poison, earlier today, and now moving on to The Curse of Ophelia.
Touch of Poison sounds kind of familiar-ish to me. I'm gonna storygraph it. Oh, is that the no, it's not. I was thinking of the wrong.
Binging a lot of fantasy romance right now in preparation for an author event in March. Ooh,
Ooh.
those
So
are.
is it Claire Sager? Is that the author or is it a different author? Iron Touch of Poison. Promise of Lies. So it looks like the third one. I bet this is what the event is for. So the third one is coming out in June, so that might not be what the event is for.
Hmm.
Okay. Nice. Yes. Ooh. I put down my apparently my phone screen is magnetic. I knew like maybe the back of it was magnetic. I didn't know the screen was magnetic. My needle just stuck to the phone screen. So that makes me nervous that I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna put it over there where it's
Yeah.
safe. I feel like especially when you have a dog, I get
Uh-huh.
like super paranoid about
Well,
losing things like needles. Atlas would never eat it. And that's what like encourages me is he's absolutely uninterested in eating any objects. Like he doesn't want to. So even if I did like drop a needle or a pin or something, it wouldn't be a disaster. But like it still gets my heart a beating. It's a book event with lots of authors.
I
So
was
I'm really
I was gonna ask if it was a Polycon because I heard of it. I was unfortunately, I think when the tickets dropped, I was working and then I saw it like an hour or two later on,
oh,
and
they already
all
sold
the tickets
out that
were
fast.
gone. Yes, because so Apolicon I think is has been organized by Jennifer
Jennifer
Armentrout.
Armentrout. I'm looking at it now. Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah,
in DC. We love DC.
yeah, no. So I think we've been telling ourselves some people that we would maybe meet up at some point. We'll see.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
We'll see if that ends up happening. Even if we don't have tickets for the events. But I think there's a lot of offers compared to the number of tickets actually. So
Mm,
yeah, it was intense. Like ticket Hunger Games. I have no idea how I managed to snack some. Yes,
that's
I
funny.
think it's because also there was as far as I remember, there were you put yourself in a group A or group B, and I guess a lot of people clicked on the first one, and some people who clicked like on the second one, they were just lucky, I guess. Also, I mean, my internet is not like the best. So.
Yeah, I was trying to find the author list because it does seem like there are going to be. Oh,
There,
there we go. I found it.
there's a lot. I mean, there's of course like
Oh
Rebecca.
yeah, wow, there is a ton. And lots of that I've read from, but like this is a massive number.
Oh, it's a massive number. Like most
I
fantasy.
do think a lot of them are indie. Um,
There's a lot of indie romance, fantasy romance authors. Yes, for sure. Um,
yeah, I think anyone in the bookish space would know a lot of these.
ooh, Maria's asking you, Angela, if there's
Oh,
series you should.
which authors? Oh goodness. So I do know quite a few of them. I don't want to be obnoxious here and just read all of them out. So I've read some of Abigail Owen's stuff. If you like fun, fluffy, like very short fantasy romances, really with more of a paranormal romance structure and feel than a fantasy romance structure and feel, I do like. I followed some of her stuff, and they're fine. Alexandria Bellafleur is so good. She does contemporary romance, contemporary queer romance primarily. She did Written in the Stars, which everyone should probably already have heard of. I really liked her most recent one, The Fiance Farce, and she has another one coming out soon, and I love her. Amanda Boucher is going to be there, who we have talked about before, Promise of Fire. I feel like this is not interesting. April Asher, April Hunt. I feel like I recognize that name. Did April Asher do the like Not the Witch You Wed series? Let me
Yes,
see.
it is. Yes, it is
It
because I'm
is.
I'm reading the third one. I should read the third one because I had an arc. Yes, that's the Supernatural Singles, I think, series.
Yeah, I think they're cute. I like those books.
They're cute. They're not my favorite, for sure, in terms of like the. Yeah, I mean they're fine. They're fun. They're not like I had some issues with some of them. I think the first one was okay because it's like they've it's like a second chance sort of romance, right? They know each other from before.
I liked the second one was with the vet, and I liked the vet. I thought that was a sweet little romance.
I did
I
like
mean,
it.
her storyline didn't totally make sense, but the vet
Yeah,
was nice.
the plot I was gonna say was all over the place, but it was fun still. It
I
was
had
fun.
a good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Avery Flynn is ha ha ha. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, I mean, I don't know how many people are here. No one else is piping up in the chat telling us to
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
So, you know, Avery Flynn is fun. She has some like fun uh like sports romances if that's what you're into. But I've kind of she also had like one witch romance that was very bad. So don't read that one. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll return to this list a little bit later. There's a D. Williams on the list. If that's Denise Williams, then you should definitely read some of her stuff. No, it's not. But everyone should still read Denise Williams's books. All right, we made it all the way from A to D, so we'll pause there for now. Hello, Atlas. Do you want
But
to come say hi?
Angela's homework will be to look at the rest of the list
You
of
look at the rest of the list.
and just
Oh,
we'll send a short list, Maria.
yeah.
No worries.
Oh, the dog is getting squirrely, so probably
You
at
should
some point during this
do a
next
sprint.
sprint, I will scoot. Yes, I know. You've got so much energy in your tiny little body. He took a nap. There's like so I'm sitting on like a little bench and there's a little like heating vent by my feet and he has a little dog bed by my feet, and he decided he doesn't really like to sit on my lap when I embroider, like crocheting. He's like, cool, lap, great, fine. Embroidery, not so much. I don't think he likes the hoop. There's like this big object. So he decided to lay down on the oh, no problem, Maria. That's what I'm here for. But he decided to lay down on the little dog bed, and I think because it's right by the like kind of it's away from the heater. Nothing's gonna catch fire. Everything's fine. But since it's like kind of close to the heating vent, it gets nice and warm and snuggly down there.
Oh yeah.
And I think he fell asleep and then he woke up, and now he has energy.
Yeah, and now he wants.
Yes.
Should we try and decide? Let the die decide what how much time we've spent.
Yeah, yeah. I think multiplying by 10 makes sense. And then we have like a chance for a short little teeny tiny sprint where we
Well,
see
but if it's less than 20, we'll do. We'll add something else. Okay, so we have 3, so that would be 30 minutes.
I think that's a good amount of time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
If it's okay with you for taking a class out.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I will not stop for a long time to prepare myself a snack. This time around, we should be just fine.
Okay.
Okay, right. I'm in charge of. I forgot for a minute that I'm in charge of the timer. All right. And you'll have to add us back, but timer is a go.
I don't see it.
Oh, it's not there.
No.
Oopsies. Apologies. There we go. Now you should have
There
access.
we go. Now everybody should see it.
Beautiful. Okay. All right. See you in 30 minutes.
Oh my goodness. This time around, I was not. I looked at the time and it got. I don't know. I forgot, so I really jumped when I heard the cats.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the tone of it. Maybe it's just like how high pitched it is or what. But it gets me like in the heart every time I go. Every time. I am so close to being done with the white part. Look, I'm so close. I'm over here. This far away. Just a little teeny tiny bit. And I'll be done.
We don't see it. It's too small for it.
Yeah, I mean, I have made a lot of progress, and this
Mhm.
is the most boring part of the whole thing. So the
Yeah.
most boring part is about to be out of the way, and I am excited for that. I'm really looking forward to. Um, there's one of these flowers that's gonna like end up looking like a rose, where you like weave it under and
Mhm.
over. Um, and I'm excited about doing that one because I
Mhm.
keep seeing that stitch places. So I'm excited about that one. But how far did you get through your book? Any more progress than last time?
I managed to read a little bit more. I read actually nearly 20 pages for this sprint, so I'm finally reading better now.
Nice.
So yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. There's like this whole. It seemed like really on the nose at the beginning because she kept seeing like this person and saying he has this feeling of familiarity, but now there's another character that she has that with too. And the first character, it doesn't make sense that it is the person I was thinking of. So there's like this little bit there, and like maybe it's linked to her powers, and that's why they seem familiar. So I really like it. I really like it. And we she enters the court, so we're gonna have a lot of court intrigue. So yeah,
Awesome.
hopefully.
Hey. Hopefully it continues to be good. I got to 19%.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, things are still good with mine. I expected it to continue to be good. It's actually not going in quite the direction I thought it was going to go in. I thought that she was going to end up spending a lot of time like in this neighboring country. But she's just kind of back in her home like court, which is where we spent a lot of time in the last book. Which is totally fine with me. I mean, I like it there, so I'm happy. But I don't know. It's yeah, it's different than I expected, I guess. Um, I don't know if anyone else here read anything, but let us know what your progress is. Yes, I'm glad that the Foxglove King is doing more for you than for the wolf.
Yeah, it's certainly not like the. I mean, if the writing is pretty good, it's pretty fairly easy, and I'm having fun. It's not. It's exactly what I need right now, which is a fun, easy read.
Nice. Nice. What more can we ask for?
Yes.
And I did not do my homework. I did not look at the list during that sprint at all. Um,
That's fine. I mean, it's I doubt that Maria wanted to like for you to have
Oh,
it.
Maria, that sounds so yummy. Can I come over to
Ooh.
your house and eat some delicious stew? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love like soup, stew, like
Hmm.
it's so good. So great. Um, yeah, I I did not want to. I knew we were going to do this tonight, and I had not like a bad day at work, but it was like a little bit long. So I
Mm.
stopped at Panera on my way home.
Oh.
So I had got a sandwich for today, but I got some soup for tomorrow, and I'm very excited. I am a soup girl, so
Uh-huh.
good stuff.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to figure out what I'm doing tomorrow for lunch because we have a faculty meeting, so it's gonna be a bit long for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. I actually have a 4-day weekend this weekend. So I have Friday off
Ooh,
and I have Monday off, which,
that's
like,
exciting.
that sort of a break almost never happens. So I'm very excited. And I, I have many projects on my plate. So I have many things that I can do to fill my time. But I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I actually have a work event on Saturday, so I'm not even gonna have a 4-day weekend. I'm gonna have
Oh
like a one
no,
day
a
weekend.
1 day weekend. No.
Definitely no actual homework. It was more of a if you spot something at a glance, and yes,
I do want to glance through the rest of it
oh,
and see if anything like totally jumps out at me.
yeah.
I think Jocelyn Soto wrote Forget Me Not. The last name looks familiar. I want to check the
It,
first.
is it Jocelyn though? I thought it was something else. No, not Carrie.
If it is the person who, oh no, Julie Soto wrote Forget Me Not. So I
Yeah,
don't know who Jocelyn Soto is. Julie
that's
Soto. You should read that book though. It's a good book. Ba-da-ba-da. Oh yeah, there are a ton of Lissa K. Adams will be there, which is exciting. She wrote the
is it the sports romance? No.
no, well, yes, but the premise is that all of the men read romance books to learn what their partners are thinking about.
Oh yeah, the bromance book club was it?
Yeah, yes, that's right. Good job. Melissa
I
Mark, who's writing Remedial Magic, which comes out soon, which I have an arc of, will be there too. Forget Me Not. Yeah, it's really cute. It's just really sweet. I think it was a debut too, and
mm,
I was impressed with that.
no, Forget Me Not. I don't think it was though. Was it? I thought Julie Soto wrote other.
Maybe I'm just wrong. I'm probably wrong.
I
I'm
don't. I don't know. I thought there were other books before, but maybe I'm.
Nope. So what I'm seeing, at least on Storygraph, is that Forget Me Not was her first book, and she's got another book coming out soon called Not Another Love Song.
Yeah,
It looks like it's coming out in July.
I might be. I think I'm mistaking with something else. That because the covers are always very similar to some others, so I thought it was something or just
Absolutely.
yeah. Lissa K. Adams, I can say that I was not a huge fan of the first one.
Of
I
course.
did have fun, but I didn't like the fact that it felt somehow so disingenuous that this guy would like read those passages from this novel and then not tell her anything about it, but like try to repair his relationship with it. Also, it was. I mean, it was completely unrealistic from the get go, but it was fun that part. But I really disliked that. It's a whole like. Also, it is like they are already married, so it is about their inside their marriage. So I always have more issues if a relationship is already established. So
No, I was about to say the same thing. I feel very similarly.
yeah, I think I tried
I
romance.
didn't have a problem with the writing, but I don't usually have like writing is not the thing that I cite as my issue spot. Usually my issues come in as like if side characters are obnoxious, I
Hmm.
cannot make it through a novel. So it's not like also main characters. Main characters can't be obnoxious either. But I think most of the time authors really like their main characters, so they make them pretty likable, which is like my jam. But if a side character is just like constantly taking advantage, whatever. I'm like, no,
I mean,
can't do it.
I think I'm more picky than you are with main characters, though,
I think that's true.
because
But no, main characters have to be really obnoxious for me to get upset.
mhm,
But like, I'm serious. My side characters, I just about
mhm.
sometimes, especially like I've toxic sisters recently have
Oh,
been like
oh,
all over the place in contemporary romance novels. Like, oh, I'm marrying your ex
yeah.
fiance,
Mm-mm.
or that sort of crap. I'm like,
For me,
no,
it's an
no,
instant
no.
putting down the book for sure. Because also, I've seen this so many times in contemporary romances. You're like, please do something else. Can we do sisterly love bonding? Just. I'm sure it exists in real life.
Well, for me, what's even worse, if you have a toxic sister, like, okay, fine. What's even worse is when the parents enable the toxic
Oh yeah.
sister. That's really frustrating to me. I can't get past it. I'm like, this is some silliness. I don't like anybody here. um,
Yeah. And I don't mind, if it's like a sibling sort of rivalry, but it's like two-sided and they make fun of each other, but they still
yeah.
like each other, that's fine. I don't mind that. But like if it's like really toxic and one-sided, one person really, bullying kind of the other, it's I
Yeah.
I, I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm even like I'm okay with estranged siblings. Like if you have a sibling pair that's just
Yeah,
like not talking, or just like they don't have a super close, or they want different things, or
different.
whatever. I'm okay with all of those things. It's the toxicity and
Mhm.
the enabling that like
Yeah,
gets to
yeah.
me. Yeah. All right. Well, it's getting kind of late. Do we want to do one more sprint, or do we want to call it a night? What are you feeling?
I can do one more sprint. You can choose if you.
I think I'm good for one more. I really want to finish this white section on my embroidery.
I want to at least start the other section so we see the other section.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maria. She's also seen this in a few books lately.
I
So
don't know what this trend is. It's just like it's not fun. It's not cute. I don't know who likes it. Like who's it for? But that's fine. Whatever. Maybe it's cathartic for some people to read. I don't know.
I don't. I'm not sure it's really cathartic for people who actually have a toxic sister because it can remind them of their real life.
I
So
don't
I
know.
don't know.
I was trying to come up with some reason.
I can't say I'm an only child, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And Maria, no worries. No stress. You do you. We are always happy when you're here.
Yeah, we're fine. Lazy writing
Very.
for the sake of conflict. Yeah, totally. Also, it's lazy writing in the characterization too, because it's fairly easy to just make this like very just jealous character. Because usually the toxic sister, the only trait you have from this side character is that they're jealous, and that's their only reasoning for anything that they do. And they
Mhm.
can do such deranged things to the plot that don't make sense, but it's driving the plot also for
Yeah.
something. So.
Yeah. They're also, and we're not even, none of us are reading books with the obnoxious sisters, so it's fine.
I know.
But they also tend to be very vapid too. They'll be like constantly trying to like push
Mhm.
some sort of weight loss program on our main character, or like be really cutting about her job, or like
Yeah.
like there's always some sort of like shallowness to it. It's not even that she's like just toxic; it's that she's
No.
toxic and like a bad person.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, on that fun note, do we want
Should
to
we?
roll the die?
We'll see if it's too large. We might do only times five. We'll see,
I'll
right?
let you make that call.
We have a six. Okay, times
Oh,
5, 30 minutes.
sure. Let's do 30.
Like 1 hour would have been a little bit too much for our last sprint, right?
Yep. Alrighty. Well, the timer is good to go. And happy reading or eating or whatever you're doing.
Welcome back.
Hello, hello. So, let's get rid of this.
Oh, I will. Let me.
Sorry, I thought that I
That's
had
okay.
it there for a minute, but then I didn't.
Oh, there's not only white.
It's not just white. Yay!
Yay.
Getting some other stuff in there. I needed to go actually pause the cat timer so that it wouldn't meow at us again randomly in
Oh,
15.
yeah, in 5 minutes.
So pumpkin, all filled in. No
Yeah.
more white.
Yes.
Woo! And I was gonna do. You'll remember I said I was gonna do this big
Bro,
red
yeah,
section,
the flower.
and then I decided that it looked like it just looked too overwhelming for tonight when I'm like feeling tired. So instead, like this teal color is like this stem over here, and also this stem right here will also be the same teal color. And then this like set of leaves here is the teal color. And now I'm enjoying my life again. Like the back stitch for the stem was like so quick and fun. And then here, this is also satin stitch, so it's the same stitch as this one, but because it's so small, it's like super easy.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Super quick.
it's super easy to keep it neat too, which
Yeah, smaller spaces are easier to do.
yeah.
For sure.
Yep. So I'm having a good time and I'm feeling successful.
And how much did you read?
Oh, right. That was the whole reason why we're here. Um,
No, I mean, I love the update for the embroidery. I mean,
Good. I'm glad that you enjoy it. This is good. I'm also getting tired, so I'm going to use that as my excuse. I'm at 24% now, so I'm about a quarter of the way in, and it's definitely like it's a little fizzle right now. Like that, like it's definitely like things are bubbling, but I wouldn't say that we're like in the action yet. But I'm okay with that. It's just a little bit of a slower pace start than I was expecting, but I'm liking it. I'm happy. How about you?
I read another 18 pages, and it's certainly fun. It's a lot of fun. Cause like yeah, what I kind of don't want to say a lot because like I think this is the type of book that I didn't know obviously because I had it as a subscription right book, so I wasn't planning on I didn't even know that it was really um releasing before I got it. After
Mm-hmm.
that, when I already had it, I didn't want to read the synopsis because I do like to go into some books blind. So
Gotcha.
I heard a little bit about it, but not too much. And I think that it's really interesting to just make my own mind about it. So,
Yeah.
but I'm having fun. And I did manage to read like up to like page 115. So
Nice.
hey, I passed the 100-page mark tonight. So we'll say this. It's a good thing, right?
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, we have reached the point of the night where my brain is not quite here. Um, so sorry if I'm not like entirely taking in
That's,
everything that you're saying.
I'm more of a night person, so I
Yeah,
can be
I
too
used to be,
insane.
man. I used to be when I was in college. If I had my choice, I would be a night person. But you don't you don't teach in the morning, do you? You teach in the evenings.
Yeah.
You can sleep in whenever you want. Not that you do, not that you should, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't really even in the weekend because I end up talking with my family or friends who are from France. So with the 6 hour time difference, they're ahead. So I usually talk to them in the morning. So it's not like
yeah, I'm not saying that you like laze around or anything like that. But like my
no.
my work day, I have to be at the school. I'm supposed to be there by 7:15. I'm usually there between 7:15 and
Oh,
7:30,
yeah, no,
and that is
that's early. That's
early.
early. I think even if I had morning classes, the earliest it could be would be like 9 a.m. that we have classes.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad. Mm, it's okay.
When I was in college, I had a couple of 8 a.m. classes, and they were brutal. That was early for a college class. We
Yeah,
had like an 8 o'clock and then a 9:30 schedule.
I remember having like a math class on Saturdays at 8 a.m. That was rough. That was
Saturdays?
rough.
No,
Because we
no.
we had my
Oh,
2 first years of after high school and college, we had those like special hours. It was longer than this, so it was 5.5 days that we have of classes, and we had the Saturday mornings. So I think also the problem is we had a couple hours of like like in between of like nothing, and so they had to give us, so it was the only class we had, also a math class, but instead of putting it from 10 to noon, they put it from 8 to 10. It was rough.
that's such a struggle,
I mean,
man.
I do like math, but math at 8 a.m. is something else.
Yeah,
Especially.
yeah. I barely had any math classes that early in the morning. I think because our math teachers didn't like to teach that early in the morning. Um, so I think the only classes they really scheduled that way would be like the big like symposium, like Calc 1 that almost everyone takes or whatever. I don't think, and I always kind of avoided scheduling those early. The one class I did have at 8 a.m. that was really a mistake. Like I wish I hadn't had to. I had to schedule it that way, but I wish I hadn't had to. Because I had physics at 8 a.m. And I remember I think there was one time that I slept the whole way through class and I woke up after being like, oh, well, oops. But I had taken AP physics in high school. It was just algebra based, not calc based. So I
Uh-huh.
needed to take one calc based class when I was in college. So like the content wasn't hard for me. I knew what was going on. It was fine. And it was like a 100 level class. It wasn't I'm not I think it was a 200 level class because it was calc based, but that doesn't matter. It like wasn't meant to be hard. Um, so yeah, but I I don't do well in mornings. Mornings are not my favorite.
Yeah.
But then when I have to get up in the mornings, I lose my evening abilities.
Mhm.
So it's like now I have nothing, but it's fine.
It's fine.
I wish that I worked at an elementary school that started at like 9:30. Like somehow, so some schools start later. Like some districts do elementary school later than the rest of them, and some schools do elementary schools earlier. And some districts are just kind of all over the place. It makes sense for elementary schools to be earlier because then older siblings can like drop off the little ones before they go to their school buildings or whatever. So it makes sense. But I would love a 9 o'clock start time.
I think in France it's mostly all the schools I went to from like elementary to high school. We were starting between 8:15 to 8:30 to 9. And
Okay.
I think the latest I was starting was probably elementary school. In high school, I started earlier than I did before. Because
No, that's how my district was too. It tends to be a little bit backwards. Yeah.
I think for us in France, we tend to have more and more class schedule. In high school, I had a 30 hour, a full like 30 something hour, schedule
Mhm.
for me. So most days I would start at 8:15 and then I would finish at 4:30 or 5:30 p.m. Right.
Oh wow. Yeah, we when I was in elementary school, it was 8:30 to 3:15,
Uh-huh.
maybe
But
something
that's
like
also,
that. So a little bit shorter.
I think in France we have a big culture of like, we were discussing this at some points with some Americans about like a long lunch time.
Mm.
So it's we usually have like an hour to an hour and a half of lunchtime, of lunch break.
Yeah, we just did half an hour for lunch and then half an hour for recess, and then we would go.
Yeah, and my high school we had like an hour 25 minutes of
Oh
lunch break.
wow. When I was in high school, I think we had it was just exactly the 30 minutes that we were like by law mandated to have for lunch. And we did this weird like rotation schedule
But
with our classes.
there were some like optional classes like Latin, Greek, extra languages, that you could take as an option, were usually dumped in the during the lunch hour break kind of
Would
thing.
they let kids like go get their food and take it to class with them?
No.
No.
And
Oh,
also, you had to go all the way to the cafeteria. You couldn't like take your food with you or anything like this. It was just like trays. So I remember that like in high school, I had quite a few options. So I had like 4 times a week. I only had like 25-minute break, so it
wow.
was bad. But like, yeah, I think I think they got around it because they were saying through with for like legal reasons that most people didn't take all these classes and most people had a long break, like an hour free before, after, or something.
Yeah.
I was, yeah.
As long as you're not requiring kids to do it, at least in my home district, as long as you're not requiring kids to take a class during that time, it wasn't a problem. So I added more time into my schedule by taking one of my mandatory classes every summer. So I would take my social studies class each summer
Mm,
during summer school, and then I wouldn't have to take it during the year. So I could slot in a different class then,
I see.
like when that usually would be. But some other kids, not my year, but like who were slightly older than me, were able to schedule extra classes through their lunch. And but they had an agreement with the teachers that they were allowed to bring food or whatever kind
Mm,
of to class with them so that they could do that. But those were all very high achieving students, and they were all like electing to do that. It was a choice. um yeah, I
yeah, I think for us it was more of a conflict issue because unlike the US, you can't like really, you only choose a track, like either like literature or more like science based.
mm,
You have like two, three different choices essentially. And so you have after that all the classes that are mandatory, and then you have to choose one option on top of it, one optional class. But you can take more than one optional class also. And so the problem is that a lot of the students had they were taking two, for example, of them, but not the two same ones. So then they had to make sure that everybody could at least do a few of the different things. And every year I actually had to see the principal to tell him like, I can't do the options I want to do. You put them in happening at the same time. And he was like, oh, this is weird, but do you really want to do them? And like, I started them, I want to continue. You know this. I'm here every year.
how big was your school? Because it's interesting that your principal would be that responsive to you. When I was in high school, they would like make the schedule, and it would be like, oh, if Spanish 4 is at the same time as like child development 3, you just don't get to take both. You got to pick one. Um,
Yeah, but that's because you can sort of pick and choose a little bit, and that's the way you work with. In France, I mean, there were what 4 or 5 different of those optional classes, and that's all. All the other ones are already like, and those optional classes are spanning the course of like the whole high school classes, right?
mm,
Because we had like I think like so we had classes of like 25 to 30 students, right? And so our science based, we had two classes. Then there were three for the economic, curriculum, and like two others, I think, for the literature track, something like this.
okay.
So we had like 7 to 8 classes of like 30 student ish.
Oh wow. Yeah. So we're in like the 250 range.
Yeah, and also like also, they are normally required by law to let you take as many classes as you want. So if you start to say like, I cannot take all of them at the same time, you're supposed to be able to do that, right? So
Mm.
just
Oh, interesting. It's interesting that there's like that ability, like even within the like legal requirements, that requirement, because electives are not like a a right in the United States. There are lots of schools that don't even have the staff or the funding to offer like interesting electives. So
yeah, in France, I mean, it's certainly some schools have a lot more than we did because we were
mm,
quite small, but we still had like Latin, Greek, and oh, we lost everyone talking about this.
it's
That's fine.
late and we're tired. I'm
Yeah.
not surprised.
So we just had like Latin, Greek, Chinese, and then something that they call European English. So it's basically extra English classes.
So was it just language classes, or were there other options too?
No, it's mostly language. Uh,
Okay. Okay, that's really interesting. We had Spanish, French, and we had Latin. I think we had one other spoken language. Maybe it was Spanish, French, and German,
so
and
also
then Latin. And
also
we, sorry.
no, you're good. You're good.
Oh, but we also had like CTE classes. So we had computer science, we had like music classes, like orchestra, those sorts of things.
Yeah, we
Um,
don't have
there.
those.
Yeah.
You just have like a sort of music class, which is like mandatory
Mm.
up until middle grade, and then you don't have anything.
Oh, okay. That's
Uh,
kind of a shame.
and unless you're in a special high school that is really like linked with a conservatory, and then you
Gotcha.
have like extra, but it's really special schools. It's not everything. Like
No,
also
that makes sense.
sports. Most schools we just have a mandated like sports sort of classes, but
Oh, really?
we don't have any sports clubs or anything like this. If you want to do this, you usually go to a sort of, like club by, neighborhood or the city, or you go to this special school because you really want to do it professionally. Otherwise, you don't have a track.
Gotcha. Oh, that is very interesting. Because we definitely like, I would say almost every high school has a football team, for
Yeah,
example.
I know.
And
For me, it was really weird.
yeah. That's really interesting.
Doesn't
Yeah,
make
well, my school even had a greenhouse attached to it. So you could take horticulture class. And we had like business classes, we had some like
sense.
economics sorts of things, like um we had a music theory class too. So there was like regular orchestra and band and choir that you could do. Yeah, it was good. My school had class sizes of, I think my graduating class was around 300, maybe a
Mm,
little bit bigger.
sure.
Um, and so, yeah, but we, I don't even know where all the funding came from because we were technically like an inner city school, but we were more of like a rural city than anything else.
Mm,
Um, so we ended up having a lot of programs, and I think that I did not entirely appreciate like the opportunities that I had when I was I mean, I took advantage of them. I took as many classes as I could. I did as much as I could when I was in high school, but I don't think I entirely understood what
mm,
I had available to me until I, went to college, and started like being in high schools, as part of my like teaching training,
mhm.
and then being here in Baltimore, it's just so, like it's just so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Alrighty.
I
Well,
think
oh, yeah,
let's end this stream for everyone.
perfect. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a
Happy
wonderful,
Valentine's
wonderful
Day.
evening.